My first guest on City Extra on this Friday afternoon is Tommy Steele. Tommy, where did the name Steele come from? Because I said at the start you were Thomas Hicks.
That's right, yes. It comes from my grandfather's name, my paternal grandfather. His name was Thomas Steele Hicks, and it was S-T-I-L. I've no idea where the word comes from. My father didn't know, but that was his name, S-T-I-L. It sounds a bit Scandinavian. So he might have been from some Scandinavian stock, though what he was doing in South London, I don't know.
I don't know, Birmingham. I get the impression you had very firm ideas about your career and the way you wanted to go, is that right?
Well, I still have, yes. I think that I know gradually, over a period of time, what direction I want to go with my career. Of course, you can have all the plans in the world, but it's what other people do with your career that really makes it a career. I always wanted, ever since those first formative days in Liverpool at the Royal Court, I wanted to suddenly come into a wider aspect of show business. For me, it was a little insular at the time. It was packed with guitars and saxophones and foursomes and me, and recording studios and selling the songs and the records. And when I came onto the open stage of a theatre and saw dancers and singers and actors and musicians and lighting men and flymen and directors and choreographers, I suddenly thought, gosh, this is where I want to go. I want to be in on this lot.
Has it gone just the way you wanted it to go?
Fortunately, yes. Purely because I was very lucky to meet someone like Harold Fielding. Harold Fielding is my mentor, as it were, in the musical field. He gave me the big shows to do, and in fact gave me Hans Andersen to do. Which has taken me on another step, which is being a director too.
I was reading an article a few weeks ago that described you as a chronic perfectionist.
Oh dear God, they've added chronic now, have they? Oh dear. I'd rather be a terminal one, I think, rather than chronic.
Well, do you agree with that? Just
no,
the perfectionist?
No, I don't at all. No, I don't like being saddled with this label. It's like being saddled.
It's complimentary, surely.
Oh, I don't think so. I think it frightens people that you work with.
Are you awkward to work with or not?
I like to get what I want, and I like to get it the way I want it. But it's all very well being called a perfectionist, but what happens when you walk in to people, lesser humans, that like to be just good? They can look at you and think, well, this fella thinks he's a perfectionist, you know. That means that I don't think I'm going to come up to what he wants, and then he's not going to do what he does well as good as he can. So, in other words, I consider being called a perfectionist is like saying that I'm difficult, and I don't like to work with people who think that I'm difficult. You know, it's not fair to them.
You won't appear on television unless you have complete control, is that true?
That's true. Yes.
Is that you don't trust other people?
No, it's because television is a very important medium. I think that I do one show every 2 years. The reason why, is about 4 or 5 reasons, but the main reasons is that it takes me at least a year to write what I want to do on television. And the reason that I take so much time over it is because television is a very infant sort of conception, if you like, at the moment. They are still looking for how to work half the machinery they've got up there. It's remarkable. You walk on a television production floor and these experts up there really are still looking at the manual. And I like to write stuff that tests the technicians, because television is a technical thing as well as being an open, easy-going sort of sitcom thing. So it takes me a year to write it. It then takes me a year to get it budgeted, to be able to find the right people that I want to do what I want to do in that production room. And then I need to find the money to be able to do it. So at the end of 2 years, I now have a show, a company that's going to put it on. And everyone's saying to me, right, okay, which way do you want it to go? Now, I've gone into shows where I've done all the groundwork and walked in and someone said, I know exactly how I'm going to do it, and doesn't know how to do it. And so I just find it's much easier to start off by saying, look, this is what I want to do, and this is how I want to do it, and this is how we begin. And to have control of it. That doesn't mean that I do it. It means that I have control of it. I can say to the lighting man, I'd rather like a little more shadow in that shot. And to the director, I prefer you cut to camera 3 here than stay in the long shot. and to say to the musical director, I don't like that last 12 bars, go away and rewrite it.
Tommy, what about your private life? You've been happily married for over 20 years. Do you deliberately avoid publicity?
No, I deliberately go in search of it. Publicity is a vital part of my business. Publicity and show business, it runs hand in glove together. There are no different barriers. There are no cliques of publicists and performers, although some people think that they should be on the performer side. Publicity is part of my business. It is my business. My business is to
good
be
or
seen.
bad?
Oh yes. Bad publicity. We've all go through bad moments where the press is chasing you all over the country and the photographers are taking pictures of you walking out of here and going into there. But this is part of the game. This is what we go out for. But there is a private life, and it's quite easily found. It's right there. If you want to be private and quiet at home or with the family, you go where you are not going to be seen. I mean, I've seen protests by artists about being manhandled by the press, standing on the corner of Fleet Street, surrounded by photographers and reporters, and telling them there and then, which is sort of it's tantamount to hypocrisy, really, isn't it?
I believe you're quite an accomplished painter as well in your spare time, aren't you?
I don't know whether I'm accomplished. I like to paint. Yeah, and I enjoy it, and it seems to go reasonably well with people. I got this year was one of the finest pats on the back that I probably had in painting.
Tell us.
Well, I got accepted by the Royal Academy, and
that's accomplished, I would have thought.
Yeah, it's jolly good, isn't it? Mind you, it took me 5 years of applying and going into it and entering, because it's a long process to get accepted by the Academy.
Is painting your relaxation?
I would have thought it would have been, but it isn't. It's frightening. It drives me mad. It's anything that I do, I take up to relax me. Like I took up squash because I bought a house, had a squash court in it, and I thought, oh, this is nice. I'll just go on this court and find out what you got to do. It looks pretty easy in this little room. And someone says you just knock the ball up against the wall and keep knocking it back. And I thought, oh, what a nice relaxing way to get rid of a few pounds. And, 6 years on, I'm now a fanatic. I spend 2 hours a day. I run 3 miles a day. I do 3, 4, 40 sprints. I'm saturated with vitamin pills and cod liver oil, and I spend 2 hours on court hitting a ball. And it drives me mad because I just want to succeed it. I want to do it as best as I can. And squash is one of those things like painting. You just got to keep applying it. You've got to keep doing it.
And that's not to mention jumping around on stage for heaven knows how long, like you will be tonight for the first time for 19 performances in Liverpool.
That's right, yes.
And directing, as you mentioned a few minutes as well. So you're gaining control, boss again, as it were.
Yeah. It keeps coming back to that, doesn't it? I'm just a bossy boots, that's what it is.
Right. Well, are there any plans, by the way, to make Hans Andersen into a film, like Mark Sixpence?
No. The plans for Hans Andersen are to do it exactly the way we do it, which is to, every now and again, you get a company together and you take this tremendously beautiful show somewhere and you just present it to a public that cannot fail to just gasp at the size of it. It's the most beautiful show to be in. I'm very lucky to be associated with it, and never in my wildest dreams did I think that it would last as long as it has.
Great. I'm looking forward to seeing it next week. Tommy, I'm already in trouble for keeping you longer than I should have done, so I'll let you get back and play Mr. Bossy Boots, yes?
Oh, yes. Right. Have we got the whip out? Thanks very much.
Tommy Steele, thanks very much indeed.
It's nice to be talking to everybody. Bye.
Christian Andersen, I bring you a fable rare. There was once a table who said...
1, 9, 4.